anyway. So my role, as Jackie's presented, is the B2B account manager. Now, does everyone see that screen okay? Changing face of VC?
Yep.
Great, fantastic. In the IT industry, I've been in IT for almost coming up to 30 years. So as you can tell by the colour of my hair, I've been around for a while. I'm sure there's a few others out there as well. I still remember the days of having to sell email, and I remember the first notebook arriving on my desk. It was quite an experience. So been around for a while, been with Logitech for about 1.5 years in the B2B role, and I look after managed accounts. And by default, I also look after VC as a category at Logitech, so the business solutions. I was hoping to have Anthony.sievers. Anthony is our B2B account manager at Ingram Micro, who looks after VC products, but unfortunately he can't make today due to illness. Okay, so let's go through the agenda. We're going to go through Logitech, who Logitech VC is, video collaboration, and this is a business-focused presentation. Talk about the next normal, which is going to be an interesting conversation. A little bit about the buying trends, what we've seen, what we've experienced, what we believe is next. Range, we'll cover off range. I don't want to spend a lot of time on range. If there is a demand to see more information, then please provide feedback. Jackie, could I ask you to manage any comments coming through?
Yes, absolutely.
Great. Management tools. How do we look after all these the new market or the new solutions? And also, and the one I'm sure everyone's going to ask a lot of questions about is what the market demand is. Okay, so who's Logitech? Logitech video collaboration solutions been around for a long time. So from the personal desktop, whether it's consumer or commercial solutions at the desktop level, all the way up to Microsoft Teams rooms and Zoom room solutions. So from a 1 user all the way up to 50 users in a room. One of the things that surprises a lot of people in terms of our market share. So globally, we are 42% in terms of all conference room installs in the market. So, and that really has a lot to do with Logitech's approach. So we are agnostic. So solutions that we tend to go to market are cloud-based. Everything we connect is via USB. And so when we bring a product to the market, we're always looking to try and bring a solution that you can adapt to meet the client's requirement. And as changes occur within that business, you can use existing equipment and to put it on new platforms. So a good example is moving from any USB platform. So for example, we're sitting on Zoom, we can go to Google, we can go to Teams without any issues. Right, what is the next normal? Anybody who can tell me that needs to go into the share market, because right now we don't know. There's been a lot of discussions about what the new normal post-COVID-19 is going to be. Saying that, there's been a lot of discussions attending within our business, plus a lot of work we've done with consultants to try and understand what the new trends are. We believe we have a rough grasp of how it's going to sit. So what we'll do is we'll talk about where we see the new normal maybe. The reality is it won't. It will change from what we believe, and each market will differ, from the New Zealand market to the Australian market and to the overseas markets. We're all familiar with these type pictures. So today, traffic's reduced dramatically. We won't believe that will continue. Obviously, there's going to be impacts to reduction of traffic, but as we establish ourselves back into the normal working environment, traffic will come back to where we used to be, I'm sure. And travel will be down. So that's well publicised in the market. We know that airlines are currently stressed in terms of available travel. I'm not sure if everyone's aware, and this has a lot to do with the supply chain. One of the challenges that businesses have today around airlines is, even though we still have aircraft flying for freight, the majority of air freight which we used to ship in circumstances where Logitech needed to bring product into country goes via passenger aircraft. Today, if I want to get any equipment into New Zealand market, I have one opportunity for one flight out of Singapore. And everyone in the market wants to use that space. So not only is having an impact on the ability for passengers or flights, but it's also having a major impact on the ability to be able to supply in a timely manner. Conferences will definitely be impacted. So already we've seen some major events be cancelled. We are familiar with, obviously, Ingram Micro has cancelled the showcase. We are seeing a number of other events which Logitech's in, including Microsoft, the CIO conferences, a number of events that we would normally be involved with are no longer going to continue. And we see that happening over the next 2 years. One of the advantages for Logitech, of course, is we've seen the adoption of utilising video conferencing. So webinars, people using the platforms we're using, of course, video conferencing today to do our training sessions. We're seeing people using video conferencing to do a whole range of activities. So, for example, we hear in the press people talking about using VC for sports. So I was talking to a colleague yesterday who teaches karate for his kids. And so, you know, that's just one application of VC. When I spoke to him, he is in fact an insurance broker. He goes, I'd never thought I'd ever use VC in order to teach my class karate. But in discussions, he talked about the future in terms of what am I going to do in the future while I'm still going to be present and having that capability. He's now starting to consider how do I adapt video conferencing into a physical environment. So, as we all know, lots of changes and lots of opportunities. Office density, lots of discussions. How's it going to affect the offices of the future? Density of office has become important, mainly through a health and safety perspective. So where in the past we've seen situations where we got high density office environments, what the COVID-19 experience has taught us is that we have to be very conscious now of our workspace, how we look after our workspace, how close we are to other people within an office environment. Short term, as organisations start coming back into the offices, there's a lot of discussion of how the new normal is going to look. So while it's not a specific to Logitech in terms of the solutions that we offer, it's definitely the new future. And then adoption to the changing environment. So what do we see? Today we see an acceleration of change. And all our planning that Logitech does around VC. We've always looked at what the current market is today, what our growth has been over the last 2 years, and needs to say video conferencing growth has been exceptional. It's now accelerated. So that acceleration of change is definitely going to have a major impact on how people work. So when we started talking about the 2 and 5 year plans around adoption at the office environment in terms of huddle space, adoption of the large rooms and the flexible workforce, that's now bringing forward. We've seen a lot of commentary around people talking about, well, going forward, everyone's going to move out of the offices and go into a mobile workforce. We don't believe that is the case. So while the change is taking place, what we are starting to see is more acceptance and flexibility of the workforce. So where in the past, organisations have always been hesitant having the workforce working from home, and often they didn't have the resources to do it, we're going to see that acceptance take place. Now, Logitech, we're lucky. So we've always had the capability to be able to work from home. And one of the advantages of that is productivity. And so I've always found personally, and the rest of my team have always found personally, that when we work from home, our productivity increases. Our stress tends to decrease, and we've always been in a situation where we've adopted video conferencing, not just within our business team, but also within our consumer team. So we believe going forward, organisations are going to look at the flexible workforce, how you can adapt that with the current structure of your business, and more importantly, how that will help in terms of your room, your office space, the office density, and your size of offices. Your home mobile office is definitely something we have to consider. In my case, one of the experiences I had was some of the equipment I had at home didn't suit sitting at home for 6 weeks. So I've just gone through the exercise of buying a MSI chair from Ingram Micro. to use as an office chair, because today I'm sitting at an environment where I don't have the capability to adjust my chair. And so that's had an impact in terms of my health and in terms of my hand, and starting to get stress into my hand. So the change in the environment is not just going to be at the how we work. We believe it's not just in terms of how a business will treat their workforce, but it's also how we as individuals, what responsibilities we take, and how our organisation support us to be able to have a home office available, or more importantly, a mobile office, so the ability to be able to work in your car. Providing business solutions. And this is really an area which we'll talk about some of the experiences that we've seen. It's talking about, are we providing a business solution, or are we providing a consumer solution for our customers? Are we providing it for our staff? So our experience has been a number of people have invested in a solution to meet the needs that they thought would meet them today. Unfortunately, that's not been the case, and we'll talk about some products that we can offer. And centralized management. We're now in a situation where IT managers are no longer centralized managing users within set office spaces. You've now got mobile workforce. So what tools are available to help you manage a user sitting at home? So these are the considerations. This is where we believe the change in the environment is going to take place, and we need to start looking at solutions to assist. Okay, collaboration. Will the office go away? No. There's always going to be the need for the office, the ability to be able to collaborate. And we are talking about organizations and companies that have the capability to have part of their workforce work remotely or from home. But the core function of the office will still remain the same. We still need the capability for office collaboration, for people to work in the office environment, for those organizations that have that ability. With that, we're also going to see the continued adoption of our VC spaces. So over the prior to 2 weeks ago, all the discussions that we have was around your desktop solutions, work from home, your headsets, your webcams, your keyboards, your mice. That's the only discussion I've been having with customers. Since we've gone from level 4 to 3, the discussions are now to take place in terms of VC spaces. So companies, we've been working on opportunities for long periods of time, long projects. So one of them is up to 12 months. I've been working on an opportunity. We're now starting to see people coming forward and saying we need to enable the ability for our office to support VC, because there is a full understanding that we're no longer going to use those spaces just to call our customers or talk to our suppliers. We're now going to, in a lot of situations, have customers and suppliers using VC calls, but we're also going to have our staff. So for organizations that adopt the ability to have distance working, the need for your VC space in your offices will increase, and the adoption of huddle space, even though it was a huge growth area today, has continued to accelerate at an unprecedented rate. And product awareness and training, I think, is very much an important factor. Spent a lot of time talking to end users, large organizations, corporates, small organizations over the last 3 to 4 weeks. One of the clear messages we received in those discussions was product awareness. How do I use Zoom? How do I use Teams? What is the environment I'm using today? Do I turn on a camera, and why do I turn on a camera? What is the benefit to the business to have your camera turned on? So that's an environment where in the past we tended to put product in front of customers and say, please go ahead and start using it. We believe going forward, it's something which we need to spend more time on training. Okay, so let's look at what happened at level 4 buying trends. Just checking the time. Level 4 buying trends in the first week of COVID-19 lockdown. This is a photo of a customer site that we took, and this is the experience we had. In effect, it was panic buying. Everyone bought anything they could get hold of. So the top of the list was webcams. So webcam sales were pretty much gone within 2 days. So we sold out, majority of our commercial series was sold out, the majority of the retail products were sold out. If we look at companies like Noel Leeming's, we had store managers walking into Noel Leeming's stores, pulling all their headsets, all their webcams off the shelves to get back into the commercial division in order to be able to sell the product. And so webcams went absolutely ballistic. And even today, we still have ongoing challenges, which we'll cover off. Now, while webcams, we saw a lot of panic buying, unfortunately, a lot of the solutions that people were buying, and it's only because that was their only option, was retail-based solutions. And so the feedback we're starting to get now is customers have been buying low-end solutions. So there may be a $40, $50 video camera. And now we're starting to get feedback from the customers going, you know, we're finding the quality of the image very poor. The light balance is not great. We don't have the capability to manage our devices. We don't have the capability to zoom. So right now we have to go out, grab our camera and zoom in and out. So it's a real challenge. Headsets was a less of a stress for customers. While we sold a lot of our commercial headsets, the consumer headsets weren't that great in terms of trying to use a solution for a business environment. One thing we did manage to do is we had an extremely huge run on gaming headsets. So, example, we had one customer within the first 2 days purchase 1,600 gaming headsets for their staff to be able to use at home. Great for the staff because they are a good solution. Not so great for the IT management because they have no capability to manage those devices. But it gives you an idea in terms of what happened. And so now today, we've got a number of users out there and organizations who have very low end quality webcams, and in a lot of cases, low end quality headsets, which are designed for the occasional call. And of course, a lot of gaming headsets, which are very, very good quality. In conjunction, keyboards, we also had the same experience. So we saw majority of our keyboards sold out within the week. So in conjunction with the headsets and cameras, keyboards flew out the door. So what's next? What's next is opportunity. So not only is it opportunity for customers in terms of the work environment, but as resellers, it's also opportunity to help them meet their needs. And so today we need to start thinking about, now, what is the next step? We need to look at customer evaluation. What worked, what didn't? How was your experience on a $60 headset? Did it work for your user? And if you're going to adopt and have that flexibility in the future to have video conferencing and audio calls, is this the right solution today? We know that you did a panic buy because you bought what's available, and rightly so, but you need to start thinking about the future, how you're going to invest in case we have a situation in the future where this occurs again, or as your day-to-day use of solutions. What are the right solutions for your needs today and in the future? And what are your work from home solutions? So we need to ensure that the products that we provide are not only designed to be only work from home, that are flexible enough also to be able to use at the work environment as well. Office collaboration. So I talked about the need for VC in your office environment. You need to start talking to customers around what do you need in terms of your huddle spaces. So today the demand on our huddle space devices, our room systems, and also our large room systems is to the point that we have very, if any, stock left in distribution. And so you need to start thinking about your customer in terms of how you're going to communicate, how is your business going to look in the future. If you're going to have a mobile workforce, you're going to have a need for you to be able to communicate with that workforce. And so you need to have the facilities available within your office space. Consumer versus commercial, I've already covered off in terms of is it the right solution? Is a consumer product the right solution for a customer in a commercial environment? And a good example of this is a couple of days ago, I had a customer who is currently running a very low-end consumer headset and has done for some time. And unfortunately, they're running in a thin client environment. And so the challenge they had is when they contacted me for support, they're saying we're having challenges around thin clients. Unfortunately, the product's only certified to run under Windows. And the supports that we use for our consumer products are consumer support resources. So when we talk about a commercial product, we provide the software, we provide the management tools, we provide a different level of support on the commercial products. And so when we have situations where clients potentially going to have unusual environments, then the Logitech support team are there to support them. Planning and implementation in today's market, and we'll talk about that later on in the session. Okay, personal solutions. So I'll skip through these very quickly. So these are products that we have today in the market. So when we talk about our webcam solutions, we have 3 core products. Now, a number of you will also be familiar with our consumer range. So there'll be the C922, the 920 type products, which are streaming products. And they are very, very good cameras. However, there is a difference between consumer and commercial. So we have our Brio, which is our 4K 5x optical zoom, digital zoom. We have our Logitech 930, which is 4x with a 90-degree field of view, and also our 925. So depending on the application of the user and the price point, and these are the 3 core solutions that we recommend for any business environment. If you're speaking to Ma and Pa over the video conference call once a week, then consumer is a good solution. If you're doing pure streaming, gaming streaming, then the 922 or the 920 is a very, very good solution. But what we do say is you don't put consumer into commercial environments, especially when you've got to consider the certification for business platforms, and also when you've got to consider how is your IT manager going to manage those environments going forward.
Colin, we have a question there just before you move on regarding the Logitech cams. Does it flash now? Francis, I'm assuming does it have a flash, or does it have a flash maybe?
A light? No.
Yeah, no. Right, no, it doesn't have. Perfect, thank you.
No, it doesn't have a light, so we don't build the lights in the commercial cameras. We do have software built in the camera in terms of support the device, so it's called Right Light. So we have that, excuse me, if I wake up, wrong one, it's not going to work very well. We have what's called Right Light, and the Brio called Right Light 3, and the other 2 products called Right Light 2, and that's for your light balance in your room. So we don't provide a light for our products. Webcam solutions. So we talk about business support. You ring a business line to get business support for a commercial solution. We have tools available in our commercial products versus consumer products. If you look at the product here, video conferencing, explore video conferencing features, we have the ability to go into a website to see field of view comparison versus right light comparison versus resolution and frame rates. And so it's a nice tool that you can use for your for the office environment and also for personal collaboration to identify the difference of what a field of view would look like to the user. What does HDR do for a user versus a consumer product? And so those tools are available to help you in terms of business solutions. We have what's called camera settings. So camera settings over there gives you the ability to be able to control your camera, gives you the ability to be able to zoom in and out where it's supported. And it's also the platform providing our firmware updates for all our products. And in conjunction with that, we also have some management software which is starting to come through into the market. Any questions on webcams? Okay. Headset solutions, once again, we have a full range of consumer and a full range of commercial, starting off at the little 570, which is a premium product at an affordable price, going up to the 650, which gives you either a mono or a stereo solution. Both these products are a wired solution, USB wired solution. And then we come to our Zone series. So we've got Zone and Zone Plus. We've just announced the new Logitech Zone wired products, which is coming to the market. And the Zone Wire products are the only Teams certified open office product in the market. And so they will be enabled for Teams. The requirements of Logitech is to have slight changes to the design of the product and also the logo to be placed on it, but it is enhanced for a Teams environment. So we're hoping over the next month or so to have that product available. The Zone and the Zone Plus are really designed for knowledge workers. So I'm using a Zone today. So this is my device. As you can see, it's flexible. It's got a metal arm. It's designed so that I can mute very easily without having to touch buttons. Has T-charging capability, and it's a Bluetooth device able to connect directly to your PC or via the dongle which we provide. And the Zone Plus is what we call a Unifying Receiver, which we'll cover off a little bit later on. We have the software in terms of Logitech for managing the device, and it's for your users who want that capability to be able to use a headset on the road, be able to go home and utilize a headset and still use it in a work environment. The only consideration on these devices being Bluetooth is your Bluetooth density. So when you're in an office environment, we've had a number of customers looking to buy the Zone Plus to replace the existing call center devices. Our recommendations, you need to go wide because the density of the office space was too great to support Bluetooth. And so it's always a consideration. And the mobile speakerphone, which is a nice little central phone device. BCC 950, I won't spend too much time on. It's a small work group solution, 1 to 3 users, integrated mic and speaker with a camera. Conference Cam Connect is our portable solution. It's also a Bluetooth speakerphone connecting your phone. Gives you the ability to be able to give you up to 3 hours of video. IT managers love them. They normally sit in the IT area, and once someone needs one in a hurry, it's very, very easy to deploy. We also have a number of organisations overseas who use them in grab bags. So there's emergency services, fire, ambulance, and also military applications, the capability to have a mobile webcam solution which just connects via USB. And then we have our room solutions. So in a huddle space, which we talked about, we have our Logitech Meetup. And the Logitech Meetup product is designed to sit in a 1 to 4 to 1 to 8 person environment, with the addition of the mic pod. 4K PTZ lens, so it's a 5x optical zoom. It's pan and tilt is integrated into the device. The PTZ functionality is very useful when we deploy them on trolleys. So it gives the capability for a trolley when it's moving between rooms. There's no requirement to always ensure the camera is pointing to the audience. So you can obviously use the remote control to adjust that. It can be mounted on the table, can be mounted directly onto the wall, or can be VC mount. Most probably one of the most successful products we've released in the VC market, and we sell them by the hundreds. We look at medium, large room solutions. So now we come to our scalable solutions, Logitech Rally. It gives you the ability to support up to 46 people. Fully scalable in terms of how many mics, up to 7 mics, and also up to 2 speakers can be integrated with the solution. And once again, it's a product that gives you the capability to be flexible. You can have the PC front or back of room. If you integrate it into a room system, so for example, you're running Microsoft Teams rooms or Zoom rooms under IoT, of course, that's a kiosk mode. So you are fixed into that environment. The Logitech Rally system gives you the ability to bring in your own notebook and have AV pass-through. And Rally will automatically detect a new notebook through the connection of the HDMI and USB from the table hub. Swap across to your device. I can now run a WebEx meeting, I can run a BlueJeans meeting. The moment I disconnect it, it will automatically revert back into my room system. So it's nice and simple, just no controllers, there's no requirements for users besides adding 2 cables to their PC, which they're familiar with. And lastly, in our room systems is Logitech Tap. So Tap comprises of 2 products. We've got Logitech Tap, which is a screen, and we also have the compute unit. So we have 2 flavors of computes now. We have the Intel NUC, which has been in the market for about 8 to 12 months. And we've now just announced the new Lenovo TET, which is a new tiny PC, which we're going to be bundling. So Lenovo will be bundling the Logitech Tap screen with all our camera systems as a bundle solution. We market it in small, medium, large. It's more the approach of, you know, where would that sit in your market? So once again, with the meetup solution, which is here, that's between 1 to 8 people. The medium-sized room is between 1 to 10 people, and the large room we can go up to 46 with the addition of the mics. Comes in cloud, Google Cloud, comes in Microsoft, and comes in Zoom flavors. Okay, any questions on product? Nice and simple.
We had one question there from, I think that was from Francis again. For the Logitech cams, do you have any that's good for taking ID card photos, preferably with flash?
Well, we have no flash. So the only recommendation that we can offer is the Logitech Brio. It is a 4K camera, so in terms of the quality of the device, it's definitely better. In those situations, what we under normal circumstances where we're trying to put a solution together to meet a client's requirement, would normally send a demo unit out into a system. We can definitely do that going forward. Today, unfortunately, everything's locked up, and Logitech's policy globally is we don't foresee that we'll have access to offices until June, irrelevant what the local situation is. So I would say the Brio would be the right solution. Unfortunately, no flash.
Thank you, Colin.
Okay. Logitech Sync. So Sync is our new management tool we released before Christmas. I won't go too much depth into this. If you are interested in some more information, more than happy to spend time going through it online on a demo site we have. Sync is a standalone device for managing your peripherals, so you can set it on your PC, or it's a centralized portal designed to be running with existing rooms with the ability to run over the cloud. And so it runs on AWS, so Amazon Web Services. It gives you, as you can see on the left-hand side, gives you a dashboard, gives you a highlight of all your issues. In this case, we've got inventory up here. Under systems, we have the capability to create our agent. So when we distribute the agent on the PCs that are connected to our camera systems, then that will identify and you can then manage those devices. And lastly, we have what's called insights, and insights is your room utilization. So when you set up your rooms, it gives you the ability to be able to say the maximum or the recommended space for that room would be 4 people. And so that tracks how often the VC device is used in a room, and secondly, what percentage or what ratio of usage it is from a participant's perspective. So we can get data on large boardrooms that say it's only been 20% utilization during the time that's used for VC, which tells us we need to start looking at a huddle solution because we've got a large space with very few people in it. Or we can start looking at situations where we've got 200 to 300% utilization of a room. And that's a situation we need to start looking at. How do we move people out of our huddle room environment and put in place a large, medium or large boardroom solution? So Sync, most part this is a half-an-hour presentation Sync, so we've covered off very briefly. Historically, Sync has been designed to manage room systems. And so when we talk about room systems, we talk about Logitech Meetup, which is the latest in the camera series. We talk about our Logitech Rally system, and we also talk about our Logitech Tap. Now, it doesn't support the PC, but it does support the peripherals. However, before the lockdown, a number of things happened. First of all, we started moving from, actually, let me go from there. We started moving from traditional devices that would be in a large or huddle room environment, going to some of our small devices. So there we've got a little BC950. And over there, we've now got a camera as well, a C925. And there was a request by customers. So customers are saying that while we understand you can't currently manage those devices, and often they are being detached from the PC, so they're not being turned on, so you can't manage your fleet of cameras. They still want the ability to be able to monitor it. So we're now starting to introduce a number of our webcams. We're also bringing in some third-party products in terms of monitoring The management will give you the ability to control the camera, how the camera works, where the right side in terms of auto framing will work, in terms of upgrading all our firmware and identifying when faults occurs, to some of our other products which will allow us to monitor it. So we'll be able to tell if people are utilizing that device, we'll be able to tell if there's a fault around cabling. In conjunction with that, over the next couple of days, we'll be releasing a new version, which will also give the ability to separate, not just by your room name, but also segment by your area. So we can then start incorporating our mobile users to have all our webcams tracked. So currently it's Brio and 925 only, and soon to have 930. So while we're going to get a lot of faults come up because people haven't got their Brios turned on or the 925s turned on, we can segment that information away from our room control systems. And what you're going to see over the next 6 to 12 months with Sync is you're going to see a lot more investment into the product in terms of how we manage. And Sync as a platform is free of charge. So there is no charge. And more importantly, the product has the API available. So we're already starting to see implementation in customers' management systems, and also and vendors are starting to incorporate it into their products as well. There's been a number of announcements around brands, so complementary brands who are going to incorporate this platform into their management tools. H&S, I was hoping, didn't want to cover too much time off here. We'd run a webinar on Wednesday, and I was hoping that I'd have the recording available by now that we could send out to you. It's quite a good webinar. It's very practical. There was a little bit of, it came out of Australia, so from a legal perspective, the terminology was specific to Australia, but however, it was applicable to New Zealand. And the psychology in terms of your room was quite interesting as well. And it was a very open type discussion, which was good to see. We would look to distribute that out through Jackie, if you are interested, and we'll get that information out. So it's a good little webinar, and we'll send you the link. One last thing, simplify your desktop. So this has been a familiar sight, I'm sure, to a lot of people. Logitech provides a solution called a Unifying Receiver. So a number of our products that we have, we recommend to connect via the dongle versus Bluetooth. And so for Logitech, we currently have the Logitech Zone Wireless Plus can be connected to Unifying Receiver. Of course, we also have the ability, connect the vertical mouse, which is an ergonomic mouse, MX Master, mobile anywhere, I should say. We've got multiple keyboards that are Unifying Receiver. Now, the advantage of this solution is, and especially for your mobile user, we can connect up to 6 devices at once to that one dongle. More importantly, some of our premium solutions give the ability to have multiple channels. So not only can, for example, I have a mouse here, which is the MX Anywhere, which is a mouse I use in my notebook case. I utilize that mouse. I have a dongle set at work and I have a dongle set at home. So I can use that mouse for both devices by just changing the channel. So it's a consideration when customers talk to you about their desktop, how they're going to look in the future. How do you reduce the clutter on your desk? And this is obviously an opportunity. Okay, planning for today's market. Well, just very quickly, just on the business side, we haven't provided the retail or the consumer range, which is even more telling. Just wanted to give a highlight in terms of what's happened in the market in terms of demand. So it's very self-explanatory. Last year, there's sort of volumes that we're doing on our business webcams. This year, this is what we're doing between January and March. Why didn't we sell this many? Because we didn't have the stock to do it. As we move into this quarter now, we can see where we were last year and we can see where we're currently sitting today. Now that number there on the commercial side are both affected by the ability to supply, and what we have seen is a number of business customers going to consumer. And we can see the same type of experiences, down here on our business headsets as well. And once again, major effect about supply. I had an opportunity on Friday for 600 headsets that we couldn't provide. So that has gone another solution, I believe. I think they are struggling even there. I had another customer who needed a 3.5-inch jack. They needed as a essential services who needed 200 units, and we ended up putting them into an A10 gaming headset. It's the only solution that we had any capability to be able to supply. So what I'll do is I'll come out of the session